Hello, and welcome to today's lesson. Today's lesson is about telling the time. By the end of this lesson, you'll be able to write o'clock times on a digital clock. Let's think about what we already know about clocks. Why do we need to be able to tell the time? Throughout the day, there are many things that we do and many places that we need to go to. We go to school and we start school at the same time every day at 8:45. We use a clock to tell us when it is time to start school. Well, what do we already know about clocks? We know that you can tell time on two different sorts of clocks. You can tell times on an analog clock, which has two hands. We know on an analog clock it has a long hand, which is the minute hand, and we sing our little song. When the minute hand's on the 12, we know it's o'clock. The minute hand goes around and the minute hand counts in ones every time it goes to a new space on the clock. So every time it goes around a whole clock, a whole rotation, it has done a whole rotation there. It has done 60 minutes. And 60 minutes means 1 hour. We can tell what hour we're working in by using the small hand. The long hand tells us the minutes. The small hand tells us the hours. We can also use a different clock, and this one is over on the side here, and it's called a digital clock, and it uses numbers to tell us what the time is. What are we learning to do today? We're learning to tell o'clock times on digital clocks. Why is that important? Well, this is important because it will help me read the time. Let's say that together. Mirror. We are learning to tell o'clock times on a digital clock. This is important because it will help me read the time. Well done. Let's have a little look at what we're going to be doing for our digital clocks today. What am I looking for? I'm looking for you to write the o'clock times on a digital clock. So here we have an analog clock with their hands and we have a digital clock underneath. How are you going to know if you're successful today? There are 3 steps to be successful today. Step number 1. Look at the hour hand on the clock and write the hour. Remember, we know that's the short hand. Step number 2. Look at the minute hand and write the minutes. What hand is the minute hand again? That's right, it's the long hand. Step number 3, read the digital times. Now I'm going to demonstrate how to write the time when it is o'clock. This is an I do. You watch, you listen, you learn. We know our 3 steps. Our first step was to look at the hour hand. I know the hour hand is the short hand. When I look at the hour hand or the short hand, I can see that the hour hand is facing the 3. So when I go to write my hour in the space on my digital clock where the hour goes, I'm going to write the number 3. Step number 2. I need to look at the minute hand. I know the minute hand is the long hand. I'm looking at the minute hand, and the minute hand is facing the 12. Do I write 12 over here? It's not 3:12 because I know my little song. When the minute hand's on the 12, it means it's o'clock. When I write o'clock in my minute section, I show o'clock by putting a 00. This time is read as 3 o'clock. Let me do another I do. Having a look at this clock. Step number 1. Let's have a look at the hour hand. The hour hand is facing the 9. So when I go to write the hour in my hour space on my digital clock, I'm going to write the number 9. Let's look at that minute hand. The minute hand is facing the 12. Oh, I know it's not 9:12 because I know my song. When the minute hand's on the 12, it means it's o'clock. So it's not 9:12, it's 9 o'clock. Let's have a look what we need to write in our minute part on our digital clock. We need to write 00. That's right, 00 in the minute section means o'clock. Let's say the time. It is 9 o'clock. That's step number 3. Let's have a go together. Can you have a look on this screen? Can you remember what step number 1 was? Let's have a look at the hour hand. What hand is the hour hand? Is it the long hand or the short hand? That's right, it's the short hand. Let's have a little look at where the short hand is facing. I'd like you to point to where the short hand is facing now. Well done. The short hand is facing the 10. When I go to write my hour in the hour space, what number am I going to write? Yes, I'm going to write the number 10. Step number 2 was to have a look at the minute hand. Let's look at where the minute hand is facing. Can you see where the minute hand is facing? I'd like you to point to where the minute hand is facing now. That's right, the minute hand is pointing to the 12. I know, it's 10:12. Oops, it's not 10:12. When the minute hand's facing the 12, it means it's o'clock. That's right, it means it's o'clock. So when I go to record my minutes in the minute section, I'm going to record with a 00. Everyone, what is the time? What's the time, Mr. Wolf? It's 10 o'clock. Well done. In the You Do section today, you would have already printed off your Reading Digital Clocks times in your package at the start of the week. Inside this activity, or on this activity, you have to think about what we learn in today's lesson. Looking at each of the digital times, you need to look at the digital time and write the o'clock underneath. The first one has already been done for you. It has a 3 and a 00. We know that the 00 in the minute section means o'clock. So the time is 3 o'clock. You need to go through the next one, 7:00, and write the time underneath. Keep on going until you've done all of that first section. In the second section, you need to colour to match the times. So if I was having a look and I could see the digital time 2 o'clock, I need to think, which other clock is showing 2 o'clock? I'm going to give you a little bit of a clue here. You are going to have 3 2 o'clocks and 3 6 o'clocks coloured in 2 different colours. Oh look, there's a challenge down the bottom. What time is it in 1 hour's time? The first one says 1 o'clock. What would happen if the hour hand jumped a whole nother hour? If the minute hand goes all the way around the clock and comes back to the start, what time would it be? I'd like you to challenge yourself with the rest there, 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock and 9 o'clock. Let's see who knows how to tell the time in 1 hour's time. Have fun! Let's reflect and review on what we have learnt today. We know that when we draw the O clock, the minute hand always points to the 12. We learnt when we write O clock, we write 00 on the digital clock in the minute section. Let's think. I'd like you to take a moment now to think about, what did you learn today? How did you know you were successful in today's lesson? Were you able to do all of the O clocks on the O clock worksheet? Why do you think it's important that we know how to tell the time? Don't forget to snap a photo of your worksheet and send it back to your teacher on Class Dojo. Have a lovely morning.